The base race. Pack our bags for London and let you in on some fantasy secrets. Don't touch that browser. The LCS preview show starts right now.
But Nick gets exploded, and now there are only 2 men left alive. Gambit push things home, and they wreck Alliance's record.
Coming out of nowhere as Pop throws down the authority with Dominate on Elise. That's what I'm most skilled at.
The inhibitor turns to drop it. They're going to keep on shoving through. Alliance take down Fnatic in 23 minutes, despite being heavily behind in kills.
Oh my gosh, the double kill, and he makes it out alive. It's going to be a 30-minute win for Team Solo Mid.
2 solid wins this weekend.
Hello everyone, I'm Rivington Business III, and we're back in the saddle to kick off Week 5 of the Summer Split.
Yeehaw, Riv. I'm Joshua Leisman, and we're here to break down the action from last week in the LCS. We'll also try to improve your fantasy game and look ahead to this week's matches.
That's right. It actually looks like the Hazmat team was able to remove most of Freak's puns from last week.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, some things never wash out, Riv.
Yeah, that's true. So you can check out the last episode of the preview show, along with any episodes you might have missed, by visiting lolesports.com and hitting the preview show link at the top of the website. It's our new home on the web, sandwiched right between leagues and tickets.
Yeah, and it is a delicious place to be as well.
Indeed. Did you know, Jat, that sandwiches were actually invented in Europe?
Did not know that.
Did not. A lot of you guys didn't either, probably. So that's your historical fact of the day. Consider yourself enlightened. With that in mind now, let's turn to the European LCS and check out some highlights from Week 4. Our first featured matchup is Thursday's game between the 6-2 SK and the 4-4 Fnatic.
Yeah, this is the El Clasico match, and honestly, the first time these guys played this year, Fnatic jumped out to a pretty big kill lead.
Yeah, and it's going to be Peke jumping in with the Destiny on this one, coming in, helping First Blood almost to get to that, but it's the Reckless's Twitch that gets it.
It just keeps going from bad to worse. Twisted Fate coming in with the Stealth Bomber on Twitch. Reckless and Peke were just a roaming death squad this match.
They were just able to make everything happen, continuously catching the damage to come out, not something that can be stopped. Fnatic seem to be back in great shape. They pick up a dominating win against SK there. Next up, we're looking at Alliance versus an inconsistent Gambit at the moment.
Yeah, and this is an Alliance team that was 7-1 coming into this, seeming like the most consistent team in all of Europe. But Shook ends up going down early.
And if you have a play from Gambit, who else gets First Blood? Edward coming up with that one. 28 minutes in, Frog is Anivia blows up Genja's Lucian, though, as he starts to take hold.
Yeah, it seemed very close at this point, but once again, a great turnaround, and Shook goes down to who else? Edward.
Absolutely. Edward with another kill on the game, making some loud shouts out on Sona. We're going to see more play coming in the game. Shook again in a bad spot, wrong time.
Yeah, not his game, and Gambit pulls into a huge lead, especially after this awesome team fight.
They pick up 3 kills on this, and the curse of the 7-1 is real. Gambit shuts down Alliance. Up next, the rising Fnatic also looking to keep the Alliance super team from continuing their domination in the EU LCS.
And Fnatic look to carry their momentum from the first game right into this one with a great early gank bottom, picking up a kill.
Really able to finalize these kills, the whole team getting a little bit onto that one. Just a few minutes later, 8 minutes and 50 seconds in, they continue the global pressure. Peke on TF.
So solid dive here. Soaz taking just enough damage, getting his ultimate, hopping away. Everything was so clean for Fnatic, it seemed, in this game.
And you just look at the scoreboard, the top of the list as it comes up on this one. 14 minutes in, 6-2, and you get Reckless to chase down Tabs in this one to make it 7-2, just 15 minutes in.
Yeah, 3-0-1 Twitch. You feel like there's almost nothing that could go wrong. At this point, though, Fnatic does overreach a little bit at the Dragon Pit, and it becomes a little catastrophic.
Just a bit. Great box from Nif there, and Alliance really able to take over, catching Yellowstar's Braum to get back in the game.
Yeah, we're going to go over this base race in depth later in the show, but it was a disaster, and Alliance snuck a win 23 minutes into this game.
23 minutes, the big one there. And the shortest victory of the split, despite being down in kills the first 20 minutes of the game. Alliance made one of the most decisive moves and wins in the last 2 minutes of the game. So that's how quick it took off.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at the standings over in Europe and how they are now. Despite losing a game, Alliance managed to stay at the top of the table in first place, just ahead of SK Gaming in second, with Millennium becoming the newest team to sit in third place this summer. Now, during last week's LCS preview show, we talked about the curse of the 7-1 teams. and it looked like it was about to happen all over again as first place Alliance until they pulled a Peke and backdoored Fnatic for an amazing win. We asked the teams about the exciting finish to the match, and this is what they had to say from the players themselves. We spoke to Yellow Star. He's quoted saying, it was a team decision, and it was clear. Trade an inhib for an inhib. We had to trade bottom, or else we would have traded 2 mid turrets for nothing. Further on, Peke said, after that poor Drake contest, we felt like we lost too much. And we were going to lose mid turrets if we recall. So we had to make something crazy to make it even. At that point, you only have a few seconds to think what's best. So when we spoke to Alliance, they understood the favorable position the fight at the Drake put them in. Froggen told us, quote, mid tower had 50 health after the Dragon, so I knew we would be faster than them 100%. So I called to push mid and keep going till they recalled from bottom. I wouldn't say the call was that chaotic. All of us knew what we had to do, even though some had thought it might have sounded chaotic, he says. Froggen continued to say, I'm surprised Fnatic didn't realize they were much slower than a 5-man push down mid. Mistakes like that will happen, though, and they will learn from it. Fnatic has never been strong when it comes to objective-based calls, he says, and would rather just try to do weird stuff and catch you off guard. Guess that works out. Strong words from Froggen, but he has the results to back them up. So now that you've heard Alliance's opinion about the match, let's send it over to Professor Leesman as he drops a little heightened learning on us about some Base Race 101.
Yeah, Riv, we promised we were going to take a look at it during the highlights, so let's actually take a closer look at this base race, where Fnatic was seemingly caught completely off guard. Now remember, they're down 4 kills and a turret when all of this starts, but the biggest thing is, when you're dealing with base races, is trying to judge how much you are willing to give up, because obviously one wrong move, and especially if people aren't on the same page, you can just end up losing the game. So right off the bat here, we can see that Alliance has the entire team grouped up in the correct area, everyone around this turret right here, and there is no one on Fnatic even on the map at this point. So let's just roll the clip at this point to see really what ends up happening. And right here, if Fnatic wants to do the split push down at the bottom of the map, they should continue to do it, and they should plan to trade the inhibs like they said. But if we pause it right here, we can see Soaz is way out of bounds. If they're trying to trade inhibitors, he shouldn't care about this because he's at half health and provides no real threat. They were thinking of doing a flank attack around the backside with the Eve, but that would still be a 5v3 with a half health Shyvana, so kind of like a 2.5 v5. And that would basically be the end of them at that point. So they can't do that. Keep rolling the clip. At this point, Soaz kind of realizes it, but Yellow Star was there kind of supporting him as well. All these wishy-washy calls. He goes down, which makes the situation even more dire. At this point, if we pause it right here, Soaz decides to bail out, but he decides a little bit late how to bail out. If you look at how low his health actually is. And what Fnatic would have to do right here is abandon the inhibitor trade because they have no way of actually trading the inhibitors without losing the game. But instead of Peke going back to base, he decides to go for the inhibitor, even though no one's alive to actually defend it. So keep rolling the clip. As you can see, Froggen ends up picking up Soaz, which makes situations from bad to worse. Now, even if they get back, they only have 3 people, which arguably isn't enough to hold the Nexus turrets at this point in the game. That and they're extremely low, Reckless backed incredibly late. Everyone tries to pile in by the very end of it. Cyanide still hasn't engaged by the time the second Nexus turret is going down because no one could be synced up. He was actually the only one who wanted to be synced up with the initiations. Everything went wrong, but honestly, if any of the one things went proper for Fnatic during that, they wouldn't have lost the game. But everything went wrong. So hopefully you learned a few things because there will be a test later. But there was more happening in the European LCS besides this match. Right, Riv?
That is right, Jat. So let's cross the Atlantic and check in with Trevor Quickshot Henry for some analysis of the scene in Europe. How's it going, Quickshot?
Quickshot here, and it's brilliant, Riv. I gotta say, it's really beautiful here in Cologne, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, you're not Quickshot freak. What have you done with Trevor?
Nothing that can be proven in a court of law, don't worry. Actually, so Quickshot's on assignment in London this week as the European LCS has taken a field trip for week 5. And he did get his permission slip signed, so it's all good. But thanks, Riv. And, you know, do you smell that? I smell the delicious scent of puns.
Yeah, I made sure to bring my nose plugs today, Freak. Thank you very much. Speaking of London, Gambit has run into some visa issues here, and we'll have to make some roster changes. Who's in and who's out for Gambit in Week 5?
So only one of Gambit's starters will actually be playing in London this week. Newcomer Nick is the mid laner. He's going to stay on that squad, but Gambit otherwise is going to field 4 sort of brand new players. So first up, AD carry Fury. He actually subbed for Gambit during the spring. He did all right, actually. They went 1-1 that week when he was subbing in. Joining Fury and Nick are 2 members of the Challenger team Heavy Bot Lane, top laner Kaiboshard, and support player Kiva will be joining them. And finally in the jungle is Lulax. Now he's not on any Challenger teams this split, but he's a top tier Challenger solo queue player, so he's pretty good as well. Now, while this might seem like a team destined to lose 2 games over in London, remember last time Gambit had to field a team of subs, they went 1-1, in the spring split. So when you consider how well the actual team is playing with the real roster, 1-1 actually just might be an improvement.
All right, thanks for that, Freak. I don't know how the Gambit subs will do this weekend, but thank you for subbing in for Quick Shot.
Got you, man. There we go.
Thanks, Freak. We'll see you a bit later in the show. And because of the European LCS has cast a hypernetic position reverser on the schedule this week, that's why we're here, the games will lock in from London on Saturday. Their day begins with the European Challenger Series Finals, where the Ninjas in Pajamas will face H2K Gaming in a best of 3. Then the European LCS will begin with a battle for first place with SK Gaming taking on Alliance. Then the action continues, why would it not, in the UK on Sunday with 4 more games, beginning with the Roccat facing Nick and the Gambit subs. Many of you have been following the players a lot more closely this split since the introduction of the Fantasy LCS, where the search for fortune and glory in the form of tons of points, it can be quite elusive. Luckily, we have the man to prepare your roster and level up your lineup, so let's check out the Fantasy studs, duds, and sleepers, and alerts with chat.
Thanks, Rib. And I know that a lot of you want to lock up your players before the North American LCS gets underway, so let's get right to it because we have a lot of details to drop. First off, let's take a look at the top performers from last week because it's important to know who's been doing well. TSM's bot lane, Wild Turtle and Glebe did amazingly last week considering they've been underperforming. 123 points when they're only predicted to get 61. Remember, 75% of leagues started Turtle, but only 35% started Glebe because he'd been performing so poorly. Millennium's bottom lane, though, was honestly more impressive when you consider how many of them were being started. Creatine was only started in 18% of leagues, and for some reason, despite J-Re scoring so many points week after week, he was only started in 5% of leagues. So start those guys if you have them because they are performing week after week. Guys that didn't work out so well last week was the Alliance bottom lane. Even though they did have that awesome base race win, that didn't give them a lot of fantasy points. Only 15 points total, well behind their estimated 66 for that week. And the most disappointing group of fantasy players by far was LMQ last week. In week 3, everyone was on the hype train. They loved having LMQ on their fantasy team. 301 points combined if you combine all of them. 78% fewer points next week, 65. So LMQ with a total disaster. And this week, they actually have an even tougher schedule. They played EG and Curse last week in their bad week. They face COG and Cloud9 here. And remember, Xiao and Vasily are being started in 75% or more of their leagues. So you might want to start considering some alternatives. But let's take a look at the pros who are kind of sleepers this week, and you might want to start. First up is going to be EG's AD carry Altec. He faces Wild Turtle and Robert X. Lee, which might seem like a difficult matchup, but they're actually the 2 AD carries who've died more than any other AD carries in the North American LCS. And Altec is only being played in 11% of leagues, so he could be a solid starter this week. Also, Creatine, we mentioned him earlier, but he plays against Fnatic and Roccat. This guy puts up numbers week after week. His team will be facing both of those guys, so be on the lookout for big numbers from Creatine. And we know he's available in a lot of leagues from earlier. Also, we have to take a look at the fantasy alerts. As Freak mentioned previously, Gambit is playing with 4 subs. So even if you're playing Nick, there's a chance he's going to be underperforming. You definitely want to put them on the bench. As well, We Will Failure is going to be out for Super Hot Crew. Yarrow is in. I would put a caution on everyone involved in the Super Hot Crew bot lane. The synergy is different. Definitely don't start We Will Failure because he's not going to be playing. But caution, especially for guys that aren't really playing this week. So most prognostications aren't 100% true. If you read the fine print, it basically says that none of it's guaranteed to actually happen. But it could, and we think that's all important, so maybe. We'd like to hear your fantasy picks as well. And since no one correctly predicted last week with the correct hashtag, you're on notice. Send a tweet to @LOL Esports with the hashtag LCS Preview, telling us which player will score the most fantasy points this week. We'll keep track and call out the first person to respond with the right answer, as long as they have the hashtag in there. Now we're going to go stealth through the brush and sneak up on some unsuspecting pros during their most intimate moments, both on and off the rift. You guessed it, it's time for the all chat.
Fizz is in this bush, he's in this bush.
We can end now.
Walk up mid, walk up mid.
Nice. You got it. Good job.
I don't feel safe anymore now that they do the all chat thing.
I'm afraid to like make bad jokes.
I'm afraid to play League of Legends.
Finish again. Kill.
Woo, baby!
I'm out.
If it wasn't for Loco, you wouldn't have won this game. Yeah. And my 2 voice staffs.
Fucking voice staffs, I love you.
I fucking love 2 voice staffs.
Good job. Give me some
Nice job.
Clear course, good plan. Something I cannot remember.
Okay. Close enough.
Rengar's sitting in the brush up here.
We can get drag, yeah.
I think that's a double kill. Oh my god, let's get dragon.
That's fine. I don't like to do cool stuff. I like to do stupid stuff.
I wait for a minute.
Safety.
Careful, we don't want to fight there.
Oh god.
Back up.
Do not step on that trap. Yeah. Kiwi.
I'll step
They're
on
gonna
it when
look
I
for a play.
But we need to have fun in Champion Select to keep our
No,
reputation.
we don't.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Got it!
All in on Twitch.
Get Twitch!
Twitch.
Good!
Got it! That's the last one. We got the last one.
Don't tunnel next to Twitch.
Good job. That's game.
I back off a bit.
Voice switch.
I'm dead.
Ready?
Have you ever built Bloodthirster on Teemo?
Yes.
How was it?
Not very good.
Okay. I'm glad we got that conversation out of the way.
And now let's take a look and see which champions have put on their swimwear and made their summer debut so far. Hopefully, that doesn't mean we have to see Urgot in a thong. It's time for our champion countdown. So we're 80 games into the summer split so far in both the North American and European LCS, and we're slowly closing in on the amount of champions picked in the spring. That's due to no small part of the 4 new champions who popped up last week, starting with the mustachioed muscle man Braum. The Heart of the Freljord made his LCS debut in the Gambit versus Millennium game when he was picked up by Jayri. Rengar was enabled once more and picked up, followed closely by Nocturne and Ahri. That brings our grand total to 61 champions played right now. If we want to hit the 93 played last split, let's hope we see a little variety during the picks this week. Although one champion we won't be seeing is, alas, poor Yorick, who is currently permabanned this week because of a bug. So, and we'd like to congratulate now the people for correctly guessing that you would see Braum and his Giant Shield picked next in the LCS. Although I heard that Freak cheated and gave you the right answers while I was gone, still, fair is fair, and we tip our mustache to all of you. I think if you know who will be next on the champion list, you should then, and make their debut in the sun, you should tweet us at LOL Esports along with the hashtag LCS Preview. And we'll see how good you are at predicting the future. Now, based on all your tweets, it wasn't a surprise when we finally saw the brawny man behind the shield make a lot of appearances during his first week in the LCS. He was banned in every game in both regions on day 1 last week, but he emerged with his stash intact on day 2 and went to become the champion with the highest pick ban rate in his debut week in the LCS. Braum was picked or banned in 93% of the games played and ended up being picked in 8 games total. He won 5 of those for a 62.5% win rate, not too shabby. And we'll have to see how the pros adapt to his super strong, super tanky physique, because I'm certain that we haven't seen the last of his massive milk drinker and his magical door. Now, while Braum is busy flexing his LCS muscles, Jax quietly turned into the kiss of death for any team that picked him last week. The Grandmaster at Arms was picked in 7 games across the North American LCS and European LCS, and every single team who picked him lost their match. That's 100% record that no one wants to own. But Jax might not be inherently cursed. He was played by some lower-ranked teams who didn't perform with him, and the Copenhagen Wolves tried to use him as a jungler, which didn't go so well. His best game during the week was when Inox played him versus LMQ. Inox was 3-0-1 on Jax, but then EG lost a base race despite being ahead while Inox was trying to take down the Nexus alone. I think the graphic said it best. Maybe he should try a real weapon next week. So let's head back to the West Coast now and check out some of the action from the North American LCS. Our first highlight of that, the two of the strongest teams from the spring split, Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid. They currently find themselves in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and previously TSM had only beaten Cloud9 one time in the history of their competitive nature against each other. And this one actually started out pretty well for TSM, aside from this nice turn by Cloud9 as they chased TSM down to the turrets.
Yeah, they looked like they had everything in that. Bjergsen came into the fight. They were so ready. But wait,
everyone flashing away at the last second. All the flashes are gone. Here's a fish.
Big plays from High here, throwing down the mop and bucket, and he cleans up nicely for himself. So early in the game, too.
Yeah, this game was very close, but Cloud9 does get caught out in the jungle. The Rengar could never pull off his stealth attacks, and TSM continued to chase Cloud9 down.
Making it happen every time. Another 33.5-minute play coming in from Team Solo Mid, usually taking control of this portion of the game. It's Vizanya's play from Bjergsen.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's Glebe, too, and the rest of the team to turn it around.
The old double void staff trick from Bjergsen.
The double void staff, indeed. Still walking himself to safety. TSM grabbing the victory and are now tied with Cloud9. 5 wins and 4 losses. Up next, EG's new jungler, Helios, was looking to help against the surging LMQ.
Big question is, how is he going to affect EG as a team? Was he going to communicate well? Well, early game, it was working fantastically.
He has definitely gotten the whole team moving. Now we see Pobelter up to the top lane. EG making moves, making some early moves on with that and Pobelter, but also trying to make moves that didn't work.
Yeah, and honestly, we had 40 minutes of this game where there's no highlights because not much happened until LMQ just decided to rush up the mid lane and Inox was trap split pushing.
That unfortunate last play that didn't work. Though EG looked strong, that one mistake cost him against LMQ. Now Curse versus LMQ, another team trying to take points away from them, and it looked grim to start.
Really interesting pick ban, picking the Pantheon against Voidboy's Caston, and early on, it did give LMQ some nice kills as Xpecial tried to come to the rescue. And
2 kills in the first 5 minutes of the game, but it was only at 17 minutes the flash cocoon to get the pedal to the metal, and the momentum started for Curse.
Curse gets one pick, Curse gets another pick, again and again. Once Voidboy got some armor as well, there was no stopping this castle.
15 minutes later, and a whole hell of a lot of vision on the side of LMQ. You can see how easy Curse just runs around in a scattered fight to take down the kills.
Yeah, so many dashes for away. Is he going to go back in? Yeah, he's going to go back in and get another kill. That was such a low cooldown ability, and he was unkillable.
And at 35 minutes on this game, LMQ wasn't even safe in their own base, as Curse was able to pick up this ace for the win.
Yeah, it really turned into an absolute stomp here for Curse, but it was because LMQ couldn't pull far enough ahead early, and then Curse brilliantly built those 4 Rand wins and the Frozen Heart to just dismantle LMQ's damage output.
Dominating win for Curse to beat one of the teams currently tied for that #1 spot. Our next highlight, Cloud9 versus Dig. Always a hotly contested match, and definitely a little revenge to be had here.
Yeah, considering how handily Dignitas beat Cloud9 in Week 1, Cloud9 was potentially an underdog coming into this one.
Yeah, Cloud9 not ready to lose in 28 minutes this time. It was their vision that helped shut down the game, and they could continue fights like this that just kept on going.
Yeah, some say Shifter never dies, but Cloud9 says otherwise. And that was a really nice catch there by Cloud9. Basically, the ward control allowed them to chase freely into the river.
18 minutes into this one, Lemon Nation, another hook. That was a perfect ultimate from Kiwi Kid, but Cloud9 gets what they want, and they're ready. And a little bit of miscommunication you can see here from Dig, too.
Yeah, they just did not go in together. Nocturne went in after Zyra was dead. They tried to go one after the other, and they just get blown up.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the Jax play around the week. It just seemed to be Curse. You can see him trying to put the hurting on Zion Spartan here, and this was kind of the story of the game. Cloud9 always had control, and you see that here at 36 minutes as well.
Yeah, Balls goes in for the finish. Definitely some nice play right at the end there. It was a little sloppy. Balls finished the job.
Absolutely. Cloud9 getting revenge for their Week 1 loss to Dignitas. But let's see how everything now is rolled out as we take a look at the North American standings and see where the teams are right now. On the top of the standings, turning into a traffic jam, it's going to be a 3-way tie for the first place LMQ, Counterlogic Gaming, and Team Dignitas. They are each 7-3 currently.
And right behind them is a 2-way tie between Cloud9 and TSM, with both teams at 6 wins and 4 losses.
And one of the biggest stories without a doubt in North America was Team Solo Mid halting their slide, turning things around and winning both matches, including one against Cloud9, who beat them in Week 1. This is only their second victory over Cloud9 in 16 games. And the question is their new coach the reason? Let's go straight to the source and see what he has to say. Freak is standing by with Team Solo Mid's Loco Doco. Freak?
Thank you very much, Riv. What's up, guys? LocoDoco here.
Hello.
You're awesome as always, man. So I got to ask you about how you're kind of shaping around TSM. First of all, crowd obviously thinks you're awesome. But one thing I saw is that you're keeping your team off social media unless they do well on the weekends. Tell me about this.
Well, just social media, it will mess with their brain because there's a lot of shit talk about Glebe and Amazing being new members, bringing the team down. So I really want to keep them off that. And even old school members like Barrison, Dyrus, and Turtle, it gets to them too. So days leading up to LCS, no Twitter, no Reddit.
All right, it seems like it's working for you guys. So next question, you also mentioned you're changing sort of their sleeping schedule. You like pouring water in their bed at 9 in the morning? He's throwing spiders at them. What's the deal?
Well, I just want our computers off at 1 a.m. and people up by 9 so we can go walk in the beach in the morning. They try to go around the rules a bit, like play Hearthstone in their bed, stuff like that. But we're getting there.
Getting there. Remove their tablets soon, you're going to be okay. All right, so next up, then, one of the things you guys have been criticized for, well, is shot calling. Since Reggie left the team, you guys are kind of carrying an individual skill for a while. Are you kind of creating a new shot caller in this lineup, and who is that?
It's mostly Bjergsen, Amazing, and Glebe. Bjergsen has the most, he doesn't have the most experience, but out of the talkative members, he has the most experience, so he does most of the mid-late game shot calling. And Glebe and Amazing do a lot of early game shot calling. Glebe is really talkative, so I'm building him into a main shot calling role. But right now, he doesn't have the experience to completely take over, so Bjergsen's doing majority of the mid-late game stuff.
So we'll see that transition in a couple of weeks, and that's kind of interesting. Next up then, speaking of Glebe as well and his lane mate Wild Turtle, you guys, or those two specifically, like really stepped up last week, and they had their best performances of the year. Why is it that happened, and then how do you keep them at this level?
Just straight up, Turtle's so freaking good. I think he's one of the best ADs in North America. He's been slumping a bit because he has a habit of throwing when the team doesn't do well, but when the team does well, he doesn't have that pressure, and he just carries. And Glebe, he's someone that's always working hard and just a good support in general. I've been doing with him a lot and pointing out little stuff, so his laning is getting better. And his mid and late game, it's always been good. It was just he was so nervous the first 3 weeks that he didn't play well.
All right, so final question for you, LocoDoco. You face Dignitas and Evil Geniuses this week. Dig's in #1 right now, and Evil Geniuses also, they've gotten a new player to help their shot calling cohesion. So how's this week going to go for you guys?
2-0, easy.
All right, I heard you have a bet with Skara about this match as well.
Oh yeah, the loser gets the bowl cut.
We'll see if that happens. Loco, thank you very much for your time. Now, guys, we're going to send it back over to you guys. But before we go, I'm going to quickly post this on Reddit because you're not my boss.
Thanks, Freak. I think you guys should up that to the entire teams get bowl cuts, depending on who wins. Anyways, all right, as soon as the preview show concludes, the North American LCS will kick off their day, beginning with Curse versus Cloud9. Then we'll see if Team Solo Mid can continue to improve as they face Dignitas. And after those matches, 2 first-place teams will meet as LMQ takes on CLG.
And on Friday, the North American LCS will continue with 4 more matches, starting with Dignitas vs Complexity and a rematch between the Evil Geniuses and TSM.
And now we've collected the top 5 plays of Week 4 from around the LCS and assembled them here for your viewing pleasure. Or as Earthrider Corky calls it, the Penta.
At number 5, High goes fishing for a double kill and barely gets out alive.
There's the fish! High would chum the waters and he comes to clean up on janitor duty. A double kill now on the Glebe, and he's gonna try to get himself out of a tight situation here. Dyrus and Amazing, both at 5, are still gonna have enough without the ulties. Oh my god, there's the ulti from Prom! What an amazing play from Cloud9 in the end.
What? That was a big, crazy fight.
And at number 4, probably shouldn't have clicked the lantern.
Careful, we don't want to fight there. Oh god.
Oh, very nicely done. The tidal wave goes out. Probably goes down.
Probably was tricked by Bubba there. What a combo.
At number 3, Alliance wins the game in 2 minutes after losing the first 20.
Yellowstar comes back in, respawns, goes back down again. Alliance keeps on pushing. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, you can see Reckless. He's on the inhibitor turret as well. He's keeping on down towards there. Froggen catches down Soas. The Destiny comes around. Cyanide going to come around the side here. They're going to keep on pushing. We can see in the bottom corner. That's the inhibitor turret going down. Alliance are keep on pushing. The inhibitor turrets are dropping. They're going to keep on shoving through. And Fnatic have to back away desperately, but that's a second Nexus turret going down. They're on to the Nexus. Can they finish the game right here? A 23-minute game. Alliance, they're going to get blocked off. They can't finish it, can they? One more hit. They've done it! Alliance take down Fnatic in 23 minutes, despite being heavily behind in kills.
Coming in at number 2, Meteos and High take at Bjergsen's bait, and Bjergsen takes a lantern to safety.
Here. There's the 1-2, a 3 possibly coming in. There's the Zanya's denying that. Can he get over the wall? And he does, but the ball. Oh, Glebe is there. The rest of the team is there. Oh my God, Bjergsen stays alive. 45 seconds on High. They are running amok right now, and TSM's going to be looking for the Nexus soon.
Our number 1 play this week features Bjergsen with the swift moves as he picks up a double kill in a 1v2.
2 versus 1 up top on Bjergsen, switching target. They might be able to capitalize.
Oh, he goes back in. Oh my gosh. Oh, he goes back in. The healing's going to be there. Will he actually be able to rock this out? The double kill. This shouldn't kill him, and he makes it out alive.
I like his use of the active, the Blade of the Ruin King, right after he does his ult.
We're going to see. We have a 1v1, and then we have a 2v1 with Yasuo. Who's going to break out the 3v1?
I wonder. Or 1v6. When's Hexakill coming back?
When's it coming back? If you're just tuning in and you missed most of the preview show, you need a new alarm clock. But you can also visit us by heading to lolesports.com and clicking on the preview show tab at the top of the page. While you're there, you can catch up on past episodes and fine-tune your knowledge of the LCS in a perfect bite-sized portion that won't fill you up with calories.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Always worried about that.
We'd like to thank you for spending these last 30 minutes with us, and parting is such sweet sorrow. So dry your eyes before the LCS gets underway, and we'd like to leave you with the last hit, or a couple of epic last hits.
If I haven't been watching clean those pink wards, he's going to be in there for a while.
Nobody's got the guts to do it.
I'm gonna kill these 2 pinks.
He's going to take a breather. The first 5 shots were just exhausting.
There we go.
Oh! That was intense there at the last second. I thought the ward was going to heal up or something.